In this video, we will see how to use multi-touch in our game. So you can see that I have this stage here, and first let me show you what we are going to do. So here is a clip about that. As you can see, I have this game running on my phone. Now I will touch with one finger like this. You can see that I can drag this ball, but now I will touch with two fingers. You can see that I can drag with two fingers, right? Now I will touch with three fingers and one thumb. Well, it gets a little congested because I'm doing it with one hand. You can see that I'm able to drag the ball simultaneously with all three fingers, right? I can drag it here, I can drag this, like I can do it simultaneously. So you saw that two balls got absorbed in one, so that's some bug, but we can fix it later. So you must have seen what kind of game we are going to make. So now let's see how to make that, right? How to do that, something like that, which we saw just now. First, let me show you the setup of my game. It's not very important, but because we want to run it on mobile phones, we have to make it portrait. Go to properties, and in the game resolution width and game resolution height, we have to put your width and height. But for portrait mode, your width should be less than your height, right? So I have chosen 720 cross 1280. It's simply the reverse of 1280 cross 720, right? No changes to the game size, and minimum FPS you can choose 30. This was the default one, and here in orientation you should choose portrait, and you can leave rest of the things on their default, right? That's my properties. In my global variables I have nothing, and in scenes again let me show you. This is the properties of my scene. It does not matter whether it is checked or not, or not, right? So this is the properties. I have no variables in the scene, and that's my setup. I have a background in my scene. It is a blue colored sprite and nothing very special. It has no behavior. You can see no behavior. My draggable object is also just a simple sprite. You know, these objects can be dragged, these red colored objects, but I have not put the behavior of draggable objects on them. It's a simple sprite, right? There is no behavior, just a sprite, red colored circle. I can add a behavior of a draggable object, but that will not work with multi-touch. It says it works with touch, but it does not work with multi-touch. So yeah, don't put the behavior, leave it empty. My touch position is also simply a sprite with no behavior, but you can see that it is an empty sprite. How to make an empty sprite? Simply edit with Piskel and simply click on save, and you will have an empty sprite. You can change the size, resize it. I have 64 cross 64, and that's it. You don't have to draw anything, and it will make an empty sprite for you, right? So that's an empty sprite, but it should be a sprite, right? So that's my setup, and now let's see the code. You can see that I have so much code, but this code, I got the inspiration for writing this code from an example project in GDevelop 5. So let me first show you the example project which deals with multi-touch. That example project comes bundled with GDevelop 5. So you can also have a look at it and understand what multi-touch does and how it does it. So if you open a new project, you can simply go to see examples and then type multi-touch, and if you click on this you will have a new game with the multi-touch code. But since I have already downloaded it, I will show you from my folder itself, but you can find it here, right? So let me open that game which I already have. Oh no, not this one. Okay. Multi-touch. Yeah. So this is that game. When you will open it first time, it will be a landscape game. I changed it to portrait, but the code is here. So this is the example code which comes with GDevelop, and so you can see that they have tested the starting of a new touch, and they have created a marker at 00 position, and they have attached the last touch ID of the touch to the touch ID of the marker. So it is, let me, I will explain to you slowly the whole code, but I am just telling you that this is where I borrowed the code from. So you can also have a look at this file. It's present in GDevelop. I do not know who wrote it, so the credit goes to that person who wrote this code, because I took the inspiration from here. So I'm just telling you where you can get more knowledge about this multi-touch. Right. So let me go back to my project. Was I think this one. Yeah. So you can see there is so much code here, and let's first begin from the beginning. Right. A new touch has started. When a new touch will start, we will simply create an object at the position of our touch, right? But you can see we are creating an object, but we are simply creating it at 00 position. We want to create it at the position where we touched, but we will do that soon. Let's open this code. It is simply a code which you will find here. Common actions for all objects, and click on create an object, and you can simply type the name of your object. Touch position is the object in our scene, x position 0, y position 0, and base layer, right? Now in the second statement, what are we doing? Change the variable touch id of touch position and set it to last touch id. What is touch id? Let us go back to our touch position and click on these three dots and go to edit object variables. You can see that I have a variable here. In my touch position sprite, I have a variable touch id. Make be careful that T is capital and I is capital. It is not L, it is not lowercase l, it is uppercase I. So that can be a confusion. Touch id, right? So I have an object variable in my touch position. So I am changing that variable, and I am giving it the value of last touch ID. That is the ID of my this touch. I touched and this condition became true, and I am putting that ID, the ID of that touch, into my object variable. And whose object variable? Touch position. It is the same touch position which we just created, right? Create a new touch position and set its touch id to last touch id. That's what we are doing in these two statements. And now you can see in the next event we have a while event. While these conditions are true, what are the conditions? We have only one condition: a touch has ended, right? So first one was a touch has started, a new touch has started, and this one is a touch has ended. So let me open this. Where will you find it? You will find it in mouse and touch, and go inside multi-touch, and you will find it here. A touch has ended. Similarly, you can find a new touch has started here only, right? When you click on it, you will simply have nothing to configure, and you will have the condition a touch has ended. So when the touch has ended, we want to delete our touch position, right? When touch started, we created a touch position just to keep track of where we have touched, and when we will lift the finger, we want the touch position of that finger to be deleted. So how do we do that? It is simple. While these conditions are true, this condition, only one, touch has ended, we will do these. The variable touch ID of touch position equal to last ended touch ID. Right. So what are we doing here? We are checking the touch ID of touch position objects and seeing if it is equal to last ended touch ID. Right. If it is, then we will simply delete touch position for that touch ID. Compare the value of a variable of an object. Our object is touch position, which has a touch ID variable. If it is equal to last ended touch ID, which means this touch which has ended, right? If uh, if any touch position has the touch ID which is equal to last ended touch ID, then that touch position will be deleted, right? That's what will happen here. And that's what this event is doing. And now let's go to next event. Repeat for each instance of touch position. So we will have many instances of touch position. If we touch many times, then we will have many instances of touch position, right? So we will want to update that position as we drag our fingers. That's what's happening in this code. It has no condition. It will simply repeat every frame and for every touch position object, right? What will it do? It will simply change the x position and y position of touch position object and set it to the x and y positions of touch, and that touch is identified by touch id. Touch id, which is the object variable inside our touch position object. Let's see here. You can find this command at common actions for all objects position x position of an object, and similarly y position of an object. So the object name is touch position. We want to set its x position equal to value touch x touch position. Now how do we find this? You can go find it here like this. Go to 1 2 3. What do we want? We want the position x position of our touch. So go to multi-touch, touch x position. That's what we want. Now it is asking us a touch identifier. How do we get that? Go to 1 2 3. And where is the identifier stored? We have to remember that. Where is the identifier stored? Touch identifier. We have stored all the touch identifiers in the object variables of touch position, right? So now we want to access the object variable of touch position. So where do we access object variables? We will do that here. Common expressions for all objects. And go to variables, objects variable. Which object? Touch position. Which variable? Touch ID. Apply. Layer, base layer, camera, apply. That's what it will give, and I already have it, so I have it twice now, but I will delete one of them. Yeah, that's what will give this, right? Click on OK, and you will have that X position of your touch whose ID is present in our touch position, right? And similarly Y position. So it's not very difficult to understand. And now this event does this, changes the position of our touch position object, right? Now this is empty. You can delete it simply. And now here this event repeat for each instance of touch position. Now this is my own little extension over the code which we saw. Let me again open the code so that you can compare. This is the original code, and this is only this much till here, changing the position, and I have made a little bit extension on it, which will enable us to drag some objects around. right. So this event is simply an extension. So this is the basic code which you should include in most of your multi-touch games. Which it is important. So you should understand it, what it does. And this one is simply applicable to my game because I have several balls for dragging. Repeat for each instance of touch position. So if we touch our mobile screen with many fingers, then we will have many instances of our object touch position, right? And we want to check for each object, for each touch position, right? We want to do something for each touch position object. What do we want to do? We want to do this. And what is this? This is repeat for each instance of draggable object 1. Draggable object 1 is simply the ball, this one, all the same. But they are many in number. 1, 2, 3. We have 9 balls, 9 draggable objects, right? So I am repeating this command, this statement for all 9 draggable objects, right? First, this statement, this whole thing will repeat for all the touch positions, and then this thing will repeat for all the draggable object once, right? So now I will check for each touch position if it is in collision with draggable object 1 or not, and which draggable objects, all of them. I will check with all of them whether each touch position of mine is in collision with draggable object 1 or not. How will you find it? You can go to common conditions for all objects, collision, and simply click on collision. When you click on collision, you will find a screen like this. You can enter the name of your two objects. I have chosen draggable object 1 to be the first one and touch position to be the second one, and this one I have put yes. Ignore objects that are touching each other on their edges but are not overlapping. So I do not want to, you know, say that the collision has happened when the objects are at their boundaries. I want the collision to happen only when they have overlapped even a little bit. So that's why I said yes. You can say no. It is not very important, but I have said yes. That's what it is doing, checking the collision of these two objects. And when collision happens, what will I do? I will simply change the position of draggable object 1, that is that draggable object with which my touch position collided, that one only. And the position of that draggable object 1 will be set to the touch position dot x and touch position dot y for y axis and touch position dot x for x axis. Let's open this. Where will you find it? You will find it in common actions for all objects, in position and position of an object. So you can do x and y both, or you can, if you want both, you can do them in one line, right? That is also an option. Sometimes we only want x, sometimes we only want y, but if you want both, you can do this. What will I do? Object is draggable object, that is the object whose position I want to change, and what will be the position is it will be equal to x position will be touch position dot x, that is the position of my touch position object, x position of my touch position object. And for y also it will be equal to y position will be touch position dot y, that is y position of my touch position object, right? So I'm simply changing the position of draggable object 1 to touch position dot x and touch position dot y. So that's what's enabling me to drag the balls around, right? Yeah. So that's uh, that's what's happening here. And I think you can make this code, make this statement a little bit more, more. I can say more logical, but this is also good enough. Yeah. So that's good. That's how this draggable thing is working, and we just saw how it's working. It will not work in your, if you run it like this. it will not work unless you have a touch screen. If you have a touch screen monitor, then it may work, and you can try touching with many fingers. But with mouse, it will not work. See, I am dragging, but it is not working. But in my phone, it is working. So what I will do is, I will simply, you know, put this file up on GitHub, and you can download it and see how to work with it. Although there is an example file in gdevelop itself, but if you want this file, you can have it on gdevelop. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you have any more questions on multi-touch system in gdevelop 5, you can put your questions in the comments, and I will see if I can help you out regarding those questions, right? Thank you for watching.